We are the Girls Who Gab.
It didn't even make a sound.
Mm-mm. It's so frosty this is.
Hello, I'm Kassie.
I'm Bayley.
And today's topic is all related to motherhood, pregnancy, labor. And
All
kids
the
in
things.
general.
Mm-hmm.
All of that. And for you all watching who haven't watched the first episode yet, which you definitely should, Bayley is a mom.
I'm a mother.
Of
one 3-year-old. Almost.
Soon to be.
Yeah.
And I am not.
No, you're a wannabe. She's a wannabe mom.
I'm a wannabe. I have huge baby fever E.
Yes. Baby fever E. Yeah, but that's accurate. Yes.
But before we get into it,
yes.
do you have a cheers to that?
I do have a cheers to that, but when we cheers, what are you drinking?
Oh, I'm drinking a Bacardi and cranberry juice.
Mm-hmm. I'm drinking a pina colada. Mexico.
Yeah, and it's so frosty.
It is. The glass is like
frozen.
It feels so cool. Yeah, I got Mexico on my mind. It's about to be my anniversary.
Well, didn't
and all
you
those
just
things.
go?
I did just go to Mexico. And by that, I mean I just went to TJ. So don't think like Cancun and da-da-da-da-da.
Well,
no.
and like TJ is known as a party city, but you didn't go to party.
I didn't, but I did.
Dad
Me and
just
Andre
lives
did
there.
get pretty drunk one night.
But at the family house or like out?
Well, at his dad's restaurant.
Oh yeah, I forgot he does that.
So like, yeah, his dad was there, and of course, me, Ambi, Andre's grandma, Andre, and like a couple of his friends, his dad's friends. And anyways, we just drank wine all night, and it was fun. It was a good time.
The one where you were double fisting.
Cheers to Mexico. Yes. Yeah, I needed like a pick-me-up. So I had like a wine in a picture that I posted on Instagram, and then I also had like a Bailey's and coffee and ice cream drink thing.
Yeah.
And I started a trend. Everyone at the table was like, what are you drinking? And I was like, oh, I'm drinking da-da-da-da-da. And then everyone at the table had one.
Yeah. Where was I? This was a while ago. I went somewhere and it came with, was this at my what is that called? The rehearsal dinner? Is that what I'm thinking of? Anyways, there was like drinks.
Mm-hmm.
Or was it your rehearsal dinner? Where they got to pick a drink?
Mine was a pick a drink.
That's the one I'm thinking of. It wasn't mine, it was yours. They all blend together a little bit.
It's all the same thing.
Anyways, yeah, I picked the Bailey's drink.
Yes.
Because I was like, well, I have to have Bailey's at Bailey's rehearsal.
I
remember
that. I didn't know that story. I love that.
It was like little. It wasn't a big thing. But I was like, why wouldn't I drink a Bailey's at Bailey's?
I love that so much.
And then I rewrote it. I think I posted a story where I like wrote Bailey's, but I spelled it your name.
Yes.
Bailey's
for the record, yeah, I spelled my name Bayley.
Mm-hmm.
Versus all you other weird people. Yeah.
To me, it looks so weird now with an I.
With an I,
like,
right?
That's not right. Oh, it was at your bridal shower. That's what I'm thinking of.
Bridal shower.
Where there was that table in the room.
Yes.
Where I had Bailey's.
Yes.
And I wrote it on the little card. Now I'm like, it's all coming
Now it's all coming back to you?
Anyways, this is totally irrelevant to the topic. Okay.
Oh, this is why we're perfect. Okay. Yes. So anyways, you tell us what we're drinking. And really quick, before we start our episode and all the things, again, I don't have a pour one out, but we're going to do our pour one outs and cheers to that.
And I don't have a pour ones out either this week.
Oh, that's so good. Positive things happening in our life. So go ahead, go first. What's your cheers to that?
My cheers to that is that I'm going to go visit Justin and Rachel this weekend, which is Matt's best friend Justin and his wife. And specifically, I'm really excited. One, because I haven't seen them. I don't think I've seen them since our wedding. Like,
and you guys used to go up there like every other weekend almost.
Like every other month, once a month.
That's still a lot.
But yeah, and so pregnant. Rachel is pregnant. And she actually just posted a photo of herself with her son Gavin and posted that she's officially more weeks than she was ever with Gavin. So she's like in the last bit of her
that's so
pregnancy.
Exciting.
So I'm so excited, and it'll be the last time that we get to hang out with them before the baby is born, which they live like 2 hours away, so we probably won't get to go down there before because we stay at their house, and like we don't want to intrude when it's the newborn stage and stuff. So I'm really excited
That's
to get to hang out with them.
so crazy to hear that she's already in that stage further along than she was with Gavin, because like she just announced that she was pregnant.
Not that long ago.
I feel so recently. She waited a good amount of time though, like way more than 12 or 14 weeks.
Yeah.
For their own reasons. They've been through a lot with their own relationship and trying. So I'm really excited for her and them. Oh, that's so exciting.
I know. I'm so excited
That's
that it's
insane.
a little girl, and I can't wait to be able to talk about the baby's name because it's a secret, so I can't say it definitely. But
but you know?
I do know. I'll tell you.
Oh,
after.
that's so exciting.
But yes, I'm so excited to like be able to say baby's name out loud.
Oh my god, I think that was my although it wasn't a secret when we did our gender reveal, but that was my favorite thing with picking the name of like Amelia, like of our daughter. It was like I held on to it for a little minute and we enjoyed it, and then we announced it at our gender reveal because you knew the gender. That was so much fun. That was so much fun.
And I helped pick the middle name because
you did pick the middle name. Like there was no.
I'm so happy that you agree because I don't like to.
Andre and I talk about it all the time when people ask us like, oh my god, how did you think of that? And we were just like, we just really like the name Amelia. And then our story with the middle name, her middle name is Amor, so it's Amelia Amor Pacheco. Andre and I call each other love, like, literally 100% of the time.
Oh, yeah, it's like,
there is no babe, there's no honey, there's no baby, there's
it's just love. And you guys don't call each other by your names.
No.
Which is funny because me and Matt don't ever use, like, pet names or nicknames or anything. So it's like, you guys only use the one and you use it constantly.
Yeah.
So I remember it was right after I knew the gender.
It was right after the ultrasound.
Was it the one where we found out?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it was the one I at this point knew the gender, so I'm sitting there secret keeping, and I was like
secret keeping.
And so I was like, okay, so like what I really wanted to do with the gender reveal, I already knew at this point that I wanted to announce it by using their name.
The name.
And so I was like, I need a full name. Like, I need middle names. I need the first names because you guys had it settled on. I think you had settled on your boy's name.
Yes.
And, like, you knew the first and middle name.
We knew everything if it was going to be a boy. Yeah, for sure.
But obviously, I needed the girl's name because I needed it. And you didn't know I needed it.
Man, obviously we were set on a boy, but look at that.
So I was like, listen. And so I was like trying to play it off like I couldn't remember what you had chosen for your boy's name.
Yeah.
And so I was like, yeah, what's that one again? And then I was like, and also pick the girl's name.
Yeah, you guys should do this now.
Yeah, and then I was like, because you guys were sitting there like, oh, I don't know what the middle name should be.
Yeah,
and I was like, well, you guys call each other love all the time. I don't remember if I said doesn't Amor mean love or if I asked Andre what's love.
No, I think you were like questioning it, like doesn't Amor mean love? And then you were just like,
that's a nice little A.
Yeah, that was cute. And literally he and I, we were sitting on the outside of Starbucks right by the drive-thru, and we were just sitting there, and when she said that, we were just like, he and I were so in love with that idea. And so we didn't change our mind since that day, and so it was super cute.
I think I like triple checked with you after that and was like, is that really what the name you're settled on? Because I need to know for
and we didn't know that that's what you were doing, but yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And then that's how I told you guys.
Yeah, and that's how she got her name. That is so cute. I love that story. I tell it all the time.
Really?
Yeah, because people are like, oh, it's Amor isn't. It's like a. It's not a name.
No, it's just like a word.
Yeah, which I guess is in. People not really naming their children names, quote unquote. They're naming them like.
Isn't some famous girl's and daughter's name Apple?
It wouldn't surprise me. That's what I'm saying. So.
And like, what's Beyonce's kid's name?
I don't know,
Blue
but
Ivy.
I'm up with the Blue Ivy. That's really cute though, but that's two different words. I don't like that. It's
I think
cute,
her name is Blue. I think it's a girl. Blue Ivy. But that's a toddler now.
I mean, I'm all about the Kardashians and the Jenners. So talk about North and
oh god, I
Stormy.
hate it. I do like Stormy.
And what is Chloe's kid's name?
I don't know.
Why can't I think of it? Anyways, yeah, that's just so. Anyways, the topic of names.
Yeah.
That's definitely a thing now to pick.
Mm-hmm. I have my names picked out for my future kids.
My names. Hear that plural, guys?
Well, like I have a boy's name and a girl's name, and the only one Matt is not agreeable with is my first name for the girl.
Don't say it.
I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, don't say it. Don't say it.
But I'm hoping that he'll give in one day when we eventually have kids. Haha.
Yeah, you will. It'll happen eventually.
Yeah, that's my cheers to that, though, is visiting Justin and Rachel. Did you say yours? No,
yeah.
You didn't, right?
Did I?
No, I don't think you did.
No, I didn't. Okay, so my cheers to that is, okay, so this past week, I went out shopping, and I got, like, pulled aside and told about Amelia. She was with me. Amelia, my daughter, was with me, and she was like, the random lady that I've never met was like, hey, your daughter is so cute. She is like, she has such a personality. And I hear that word specifically about my daughter all the time because she seriously does. She's, don't get me wrong, she's moody only around her mom and dad.
Oh,
and
not
she
okay.
has, okay, you're right, everywhere. But I feel like even when she's moody around other people, it's like, wow, your daughter is so good. Like, she's moody in, like, tiny little spurts and, like, knows how to control it.
She has a tude.
Like, exactly. Tude is a good word. She doesn't have a full-on temper tantrum, scream, and kick in public. No. She has it at home, don't get me wrong. But, like, she's really good about keeping her composure out in public. So, or around strangers or whatever. So, I was really, like, I've thought about it in the past. And so, when she brought it up to me, I was like, oh, that's so sweet. She had brought up to, like, me about, hey, your daughter's really cute. You should get into modeling. Like, I work for this girl who, I nanny for this girl who the mom is very much into modeling, has her own clothing brand for kids and stuff, but she needs more toddlers. All she has is babies. Would you be interested in having your daughter do it? And I was so all about it. And so she was like, can I get your information? I gave her my information and all that.
Well, and you tried to get Amelia in that contest.
I did. What,
for Gap? Baby Gap?
I think it was for Baby Gap.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was for. Yeah, that was a
like
while
an
ago.
Instagram contest to get the. I think
it was voting too.
Right?
It was to get them in it. It was voting, and that when you won, you would get
like
you would win the gig or whatever. Yeah, whatever the gig was, you would win it. So and she did really well with that, but it didn't follow through. So anyway, so that same day I was on the phone with my mom, and my mom was like, we were ending our conversation, and like right before we hung up, she was like, oh, and Bailey, by the way, like, her Instagram posts are so cute. And I thought she was talking about my Instagram. For the record, I have multiple Instagram pages.
Now we have more.
Now we have
even
Girls
more.
Who
Gab Instagram.
Yes. So
go down and follow everything.
And follow that side note. Yeah. So there's my Instagram and my daughter's Instagram. And so when my mom said that, I thought she was talking about my page. And I said, oh, this is so odd. Like, what? Like, hearing all this information. Like, what did I post recently that was so, like, breathtaking or whatever? And then she brought up Amelia, and I was like, oh, that makes more sense. Like, I've been really into, like, taking pictures of Amelia and, like, the photography standpoint of things. And she was like, honestly, Bailey, like, you need to get her into a modeling gig. And I don't just mean, like, a small time, little tiny thing. I mean, like, you are less than 30 miles away from Los Angeles, and you could get a big talent and make her of it. And you could make she could save all the money and start building her own life, and you can retire and travel with her, and it can be a thing. And I was like, whoa, this is the second time in a day that I've heard this. This is, and
your mom was saying this?
Yeah, my mom. And I was like, okay, that means for me, that was like, oh, this is a big deal.
Remember that conversation about manifestation?
Manifestation, yes.
I said manifestation.
Okay. Anyways, it was a really big thing to me, and I told Andre about it, and I'm a huge believer in, like, oh my God, like, this is a sign from, like, God, you know what I mean? And so I told Andre, he said, Bailey, like, I believe in this. I'm on board. You should do it. That's my job for you. Like, over the next whatever amount of time, like, find a talent agent and make this happen and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, this is so exciting. So
hopefully it happens.
That's my
She's so freaking cute. Like,
guys,
deserves to be honestly.
On things. I believe it. Yeah. Oh yeah, and her eyes, God,
I know.
I have poop eyes. I don't even know where she got them.
She has her dad's eyes.
Yeah,
is what it is.
Like green, like a dark green, like almost hazel, but eye color. And hers are like, sometimes they're super blue, and other times they're definitely green blue. And it's like, she's gorgeous. So
yeah, she is.
My cheers to that is that she's been getting a lot of compliments lately, and like, God, she's perfection. And that's that.
Yep. So, they made a cute kid. What can we say?
Which is why we want more.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. Okay, so let's get into it.
Ask me what you want.
Okay, so I suppose we should start with the beginning, like
before being pregnant or just realizing that
like how did you know you were pregnant?
Yeah, so I knew I knew it. I knew it in my heart that I was pregnant because I straight up was peeing way more than I ever peed in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big thing because I can hold my pee like it's nobody's business. I am great at it. I like I've been anyway. So when I knew that I was pregnant, I wasn't able to hold my pee. I would like pee my underwear a little bit because like my body couldn't contain it. And so I just was going constantly every 30 minutes on the 30 minutes. And so that's how I literally knew. After that, I took a pregnancy test because I was like, there was no other symptom that shown.
Right, no like morning sickness or bloating,
no sore
or
boobs yet. Like it was so in the beginning that I was like,
you found out really early, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I took one pregnancy test. I didn't even take multiple, which is such a surprising and look I ended up being actually pregnant. But yeah, I didn't take multiple, which I know is a thing because it's like more false positives than false negatives. So
yeah, false negatives are super rare. Yeah. But fun fact, my aunt got a bunch of false negatives when she was pregnant with her first. Yeah. Wow. So she was getting like, she took a test and it was positive. She took a test, it was negative. Took a test, it was positive. Took a test, it was negative. Like she did it like a bunch of times. It kept happening over and over again. And so she finally went to the doctor. Her pee test at the doctor's was negative, and she was like, I don't believe you give me a blood test. Like, I think I'm pregnant.
Yeah, she was so thrown off. Okay.
Yeah, so she like had to advocate for herself to get a blood test because they didn't want to do one because like she came back negative. Those are super rare. And they got a blood test, and she was pregnant, and yeah, so like they happen. Don't get me wrong, there's weird stories, but false negatives are way less likely than false positives. So it's
crazy that I only took one. Yeah, so I took one. That day is when I told Andre. I could not hold on to it, and so Andre and I at this point had only been together. I don't know exactly, but it's anywhere from 2 to 3 months. That's how long we had been together when I found out I was pregnant. So I told him, and he had just walked in the door from work, and I was like sitting on the couch and
like anxiously waiting for him?
Yep, that's exactly what it was. And I was just sitting on the couch with the pregnancy test, and he like got home and said hi to me, and I told him right there, plain as day. I didn't.
You didn't even say hi.
No, well, okay. Like I said hi. God, that was 3 years ago. I don't know, but yeah, more than 3 years ago.
Yeah,
but yeah, I was. Yeah, and that was it. And he at first there was no angry Andre. There was no like hesitation Andre or like anything like that. It was pure joy and like happiness, which like God I love so much. It's like
he really does
so perfect and it's so perfect for me. Like the more I think about it, because like I'm such that personality too. I'm more like this is happening. Let's do it. And I'm all about change all the time. And so for that, so that was an exciting moment for us.
Yeah. So you told Andre, who was on board, and so this was like very early in the pregnancy. Yeah. So who was the next person you told?
Yeah. Okay. So the next person I told was Stephanie Millard.
Oh my gosh, I knew that actually. Yeah. So I remember. I don't remember the details of it, but I'm pretty sure she's the one that told me she knew before me.
Yeah, she is. I was like, because I didn't want to tell you.
And I was like, wow, why did you tell me that?
So
she was like, I feel like she was like, yeah, I knew.
I'll get you about it. I love it. So, okay, backstory on Stephanie. When we all worked at Claim Topper, she was a manager.
So she was like one of our bosses.
She was one of our bosses. But I love that girl. She has such a great personality. She is so friendly and like you,
such a like
just so welcoming. Yeah, and joyful all the time. So, anyways, I wasn't best friends with her. I didn't hang out with her. She was my manager, but she was someone who like I always talked to at work. I confided in. I just talked about anything and everything. And so when I found out, it was before I told Kassie and my mom or my mom and dad. I literally pulled her in the freezer at work at the restaurant, and I was like,
"Sorry, now I remember
I'm pregnant." And she was like, and she got all happy. She cried in the freezer. It was so exciting, so exciting. And so she was the second person I told.
Yep. Okay, so how did it feel telling me?
So, telling you, I don't remember if I told you or my mom first.
I don't remember for sure.
I think I told my mom first.
I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
Because I remember it happened really close to each other. Whichever one you told first, I don't remember.
Yeah.
But it happened really close.
Okay, so me telling you. So we went to this restaurant that we love. It's called the Crooked Duck.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And
we would go all the time.
All the time.
And our regular
like
thing was to order mimosas.
Like every time. I love drinking. I love drinking.
Yeah, and so like this time frame, you were 21.
Yeah.
Like, relatively
because I had Amelia when I was 22.
Yeah.
So December of being pregnant, I turned 22.
Yeah, so you turned 21 in December, and then you had Amelia your 22nd year in April. So, like, whatever the monthly part, you were, like, relatively new to being 21. So we were drinking a lot.
Yeah.
And, like, I'm only a year and a half, a year and 9 months or something older than you. So, like, clearly we were, like, in our partying stage.
We're in our prime.
Clubbing. We don't do that now.
And honestly, I didn't even club back then, so what?
Okay, but except that you used to go in and get into clubs before you were 21.
That's
so
accurate.
Don't talk about it.
Thank you, Samantha, if you're watching, because I used her fake ID.
Oh, I forgot about that.
We don't even look alike. It's hilarious. So we went to this restaurant. Yes, we would always drink mimosas. And it was like, we knew we were drinking. So, like, before they would even give us menus or, like, sit down, they'd be like
mimosas.
They'd seat us and be like, okay, what would you like? Because it's such a small, it's in a house that's formed into a restaurant. So, like,
it's
as
super
they would,
cute place.
Gosh, I love it there. So, as they would seat you, they would also be your server asking you what you want. So, that's how it was. So, they sat us down and they were like, okay, what would you like? And Kassie was like, oh, mimosas. And I was like, no, take a...
So she was like, oh, I can't drink today.
Yeah, or something like that.
I remember this part very
vividly. Apparently.
Because that was what, like, I knew the second you said it. Like, I knew that this is where we were gonna go. Because, okay, I just remember it. So, like, I was like, oh, I assume we're doing mimosas. And then you were like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't. You were like, oh, no, I can't drink today. And I was like, why?
That's so sweet.
And so anyway, I was like, okay, then I don't know what we want. So I just, like, said waters for now or whatever. The server left. And I was like, why can't you drink today? And you were like, oh, I have work. But that was, like, not a good enough excuse.
Because you knew that I didn't work. Right?
I either knew you didn't work or
we
like,
worked at the same place at the time. You knew that I didn't work.
Either that I knew you didn't work or that, like, it was early enough that, like, we would have drank.
Yeah. Also, even if it wasn't early enough, I would have drank. So.
Yeah, so, like, it was just like, do you really want to say that? It's up to you.
I work in 3 hours, so.
Okay. So, yeah, like, it was just a weird thing to say from us. Like, I just know you too well, I guess. Yeah. So anyway,
I would not say no.
So then I sit down, and what happened next in your head? Or
You're
do you want me to tell my version?
Go ahead and tell your version, because my version is just that we sat down, I told you, and you cried. So
that's essentially what happened. So, like, I told the server, okay, waters for now, and I think I ordered a coffee. Yeah. And then I remember sitting down and was like, why can't you drink? And you said you had work or whatever. That part was like, I was like in my head about like, I don't remember you having a schedule or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then you said, I actually have to tell you something or something along those lines. Not word for word, but I have to tell you something. And I said, you're not pregnant, are you? And you said, yep, I am. And I said, what? And you said, I am pregnant. You, like, did that. And then I, like, had feelings.
Yep. Immediately the tears came.
Like, I was trying so hard to keep my shit together because, like, I didn't want to be mean and, like, being sad that you were pregnant. But it's just, like, it's just this big moment. Like, it was one of those things where, like, we're both young. Like, you're young. We are young. We don't have, like, we're not, like, stable yet. Like,
I mean, also, at the time, I had been dating this guy that you barely knew for
no minutes.
2 to 3 months. Yeah. So,
like, it was just, like, oh, my God. And so I remember, like, trying to get my shit together. I like covered my face.
The server came up mid Kassie having a moment, and she just didn't answer and look at him, and I'm just like
couldn't.
We're fine. We're good for right now.
Like, oops, awkward server moments.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then I covered my face, and I was like, I remember thinking, like, I need to get my shit together. I know what's gonna happen next. Like, I know you well enough to know that it wasn't like a question of, oh, I'm pregnant, what to do next. Because there's lots of options.
Right. But you knew those options weren't for me.
Exactly. Like, I knew that this meant you were going to have a baby. You were going to be a mom.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't like I even questioned, like, is this a discussion of whatever? It was okay, now I need to know how many weeks are you, like, all of, have you gone to a doctor yet? Like, all of that. Like, I knew that was the path we were on. So I, like, hold my shit together for a minute. You cried too.
I did cry.
Because I remember, like, I couldn't look at you, so I was, like, covering my face, trying to not cry, but I was sobbing.
So hard.
And, like, you, like, grabbed my hand and was, like, I could hear that you were crying.
Yeah.
Like, don't, and I think you said, like, don't make me cry, you're making me cry. And I was like, okay. So, I assume we're keeping it. And then that went from there of, like, how many weeks were you and all that
all
stuff.
the details, yeah.
And then, that was how I, like, my memory of finding out you were pregnant. And from then, like, it was very easy to, like, not be in that mindset, but in the mindset of, like, oh my gosh, there's gonna be a baby. Like,
I know.
Amelia is the light of my life, so clearly she's
Lord
the light
knows
of
she's
yours.
the light of my life.
Yeah.
Goodness. Oh, God, I love her. Yeah, so
and then you had to tell your parents.
And then I had to tell my parents. That's how I feel about that. No, still to this day, I get chills about, like, remembering the moment of telling my parents.
Was that the scariest one for you?
Yeah, that was definitely the scariest one for me. I remember I was sitting at the restaurant, and I had called my mom. And at this point in my life, I have always been super close with my family. You know, of course, I went through my teenager stage of life, blah, 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 depression, So there was a point where, like, I was disconnected from them for quite some time. But when we moved to California, everything was fine, so close. But I had gotten in this relationship with Andre, and I was not disconnected, but I was not as present as I am now with them every weekend, all the time, you know? So I called up my mom. I said, hey, Mom, like, we should get together this week, and I don't want to put it off. Like, let's have dinner, blah, blah, blah. And you can tell in her voice, she was, like, thrown off and, like, why? You don't hang out with us. You know, like, this is weird. And so it was weird.
Do you think she knew?
She didn't tell me on the phone. She didn't tell me her concerns on the phone or anything. She just rolled with it, and that was it. And
then you told them.
And then I told them. We had that dinner. And it was stressful. It was so
and
stressful.
Andre went with you, right?
Yeah.
Which surprises me every single time I hear this story.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't want...
I can't believe...
I didn't want to be alone.
No,
you know what?
Honestly, if I was in Andre's position, I think I would have been more scared than, like, obviously
because he
you
didn't
would want
know
him
my
to be there.
family. We'd only been together for 2 to 3 months. I don't know how many more times. Like, I'm probably going to say that so much in this story because, like, it's so... Crazy. There were so many new things happening in our life that this was just another thing on top of everything else. Yeah. And so... yeah, it was very scary. And so telling my parents was definitely the scariest thing I think I've ever gone through.
How did they react?
They reacted better than I anticipated. My dad was silent the whole time and, you know, until the very end and kind of kept to himself, gathered his thoughts. There was no lashing out on either end.
Good.
I am very much like my dad. After I told them and they started giving me feedback or my mom started giving us feedback, I stayed quiet. I don't shut. Yeah, I guess you could say I do shut down in a sense.
Yeah,
I just kind of like, I don't respond. I just kind of like intake everything and then I like just like nod and shrug and yeah. And that was really how it went. That's like literally all I can tell you because I don't like really remember it too much. I think I, like, literally blacked out. Yeah, I seriously think I did. And it's a lot of, like, you know, my mom and dad, you know, saying, you're young. Like, they also knew that it wasn't going to be, like,
any
a choice.
Other option.
Exactly. They knew I was having this baby. They knew, like, nothing else was going to come about. And so it was, like, a conversation of, wow, you're young. Like, are you sure, like, this is what you guys want, you know, and, like, I guess more, like, preparing us, like, you're gonna miss out on a lot in life, blah, 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 which is true, but, like, no, I guess you can say, in our minds, we put things on pause, in that sense of, like, I guess you could say partying and traveling, which, I don't know, so,
and you guys still travel.
and we still do travel, so, telling my parents is so scary. It wasn't a negative. I think they reacted a lot better than I anticipated and a lot more positive than I thought.
In your head, you thought it was going to be.
I mean, in my head, telling your parents big things like this is so stressful for some. So that was definitely a scary point in my life. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So then, okay, so we've told everyone that those are the important stories, I think. But is there anyone else that's important to tell?
No, his family was really fun to tell. They, so we took a trip to Mexico to TJ, and his whole family was there. I remember everyone was there, and it was so much fun. And I wasn't drinking, and I remember his cousin was like drink, like da da da, and they still do that to me now because recently he and I were trying, which we put that on pause for a moment. We're not trying right now, but
this is not a virgin margarita or pina colada.
No, it's not. I promise that. But this same cousin is always like take a drink, like drink. And anyways, I just remember me not drinking that whole trip, and people were like concerned, but they did not think that we were pregnant because we were only dating for 2 to 3 months. So
they're like, that can't be why.
So, yeah, exactly. So we were sitting down at this long table. There were like 20 people at the table. Also, a lot of like Andre's dad's friends were there. So it was like a bunch of people. And then I remember I recorded it, and Andre's telling his family in Spanish. And I recorded it, him speaking, and everyone just thought it was like a speech or whatever. And so I'm recording it, and he's telling his family in Spanish.
Andre's family is very much like the type that would have like random speeches at
their
dinners.
Yeah,
like, they're so like that.
His family is so sentimental, so like it was
it wasn't weird
thing. Yeah,
for that family specifically.
Exactly. So it was so cute, and so. Anyways, he's telling the family, and then all of a sudden he says it, and everyone's like, ah! Like gets all up from their chairs, like gets so excited and pumped, and it's like, there was no like questioning. It was just like we're so excited for you kind of thing. So so that was
that family.
Side of the family. That was fun. I think that those are really the only stories that I have for like telling wise, because that was it. Yeah.
So then, like, pregnancy was, like, relatively easy.
Yeah, pregnancy
you didn't really have, like, a lot.
It was so easy. I had there was no morning sickness or day or night or I had no sickness whatsoever.
Except you got food poisoning while you were pregnant.
That was at the very end, though. So, no, there was nothing. It was such a breeze for me, pregnancy, and I just remember being so in love. And I always
in love
say
with
this.
Being pregnant?
In
or
love with being
Andre?
Pregnant. No, stop it, No, I just remember, just it being like everything, like I've ever wanted. Like it was it was such a dream. And I still to this day, I know that this would never happen and I wouldn't be a surrogate, but so much I loved pregnancy that I'm like all the time as a joke, I'm like, honestly, I would be a surrogate mother if I could. Like that's how much I love pregnancy and how much it was not a problem for me. Like it's so amazing and such,
and that's
like
why you want 5 million children.
And this is why I want 5 million children. Yes,
because it was easy.
Watch me have my second and just.
That happens sometimes. Not all pregnancies are the same, from what I understand.
No, yeah. So yeah, pregnancy.
But you did have that one scare that happened, like right before she was born.
Well, so okay, let me backtrack a little bit. So within the last 2 months of my pregnancy, I wasn't getting sick, but I had really bad night terrors, and
I forgot about that.
Really bad night terrors, and I had really bad what is it called? When you feel like there's something stuck in your throat. It's called I don't know why I can't think of the name right now. But
not asthma?
No, not asthma, because I have chronic asthma. But that wasn't it. But yes. So anyways, towards the end of my pregnancy, I really had that. I got like a wedge pillow to sleep on. I got a wedge pillow for my belly. I had to I was up all nights in the, all hours of the night. And so that was really the only stressful thing. But that was and I say 2 months, you're pregnant for 9 months. I feel like that's a long time. But it was back and forth.
Yeah, it wasn't the whole 2 months.
Exactly. And so the scare that you were talking about, it was St. Patty's Day. And I remember that vividly because I was going to the premiere at the Chinese Theater in Los Angeles with my mom and my cousin and my aunt to see Beauty and the Beast. Why did I say Pirates of the Caribbean? Beauty and the Beast. Yeah. And so at the El Capitan Theater. And so I went to go see that, and I mid, like, movie, I finished the whole movie, but I struggled. I was having, like, a severe asthma attack, and it was so random. There was no warning signs up until it was, like, mid-movie. I, like, couldn't breathe, and I remember we went to Johnny Rockets after across the street, and I, like, was still struggling so hard. I couldn't eat my food and consume anything.
Wow.
And so I was like, Mom, I gotta go to a hospital. And so we ended up going to a hospital, like, driving through, like, we tried to get out of Los Angeles, though, because I did not want to go to hospital down there.
Yeah.
And so we drove as close as we could to home. I don't even know where we stopped or remember, but we stopped at a hospital, and, like, I was like, I don't know what's happening to me.
Yeah.
Like, I was having a bad asthma attack and just all these things. And so
yeah.
they were like, oh, that's it. It's nothing pertaining to your pregnancy or whatever.
Yeah. But in that time that you were in the hospital and everything, were they, like, ever worried that that was going to cause anything with the pregnancy?
Yeah, because I'm not getting enough air. So they monitored my belly, you know, my baby, for the whole time I was there, and that was a big concern. Not getting enough oxygen myself. If I'm not getting it myself, then my baby's not getting it.
Yeah.
So that day is the same day that I called and told work, I am not coming back until until my maternity leave is over, after I've had the baby and everything.
Yeah.
And so it was a huge shock, because I was very much like, I am working until
the baby
comes out on the restaurant floor. Like, that's how.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, because I was managing at that time, and I wasn't serving anymore. I was there long hours, and I was so, like, I was in love with my job. Like, gosh, yeah. So that was.
And then I remember after that, before Amelia was born, I would come over, and you were, like, bored out of your mind.
I was so bored. I hated being home by myself. Now being home all the time is different, because I have a little one to here to like, you know, occupy me, and we hang out together. But like before, just waiting. It was just me. Yeah. God, how boring is that?
Yeah.
So that was that, and yeah.
Okay, so then we get to the moment of the labor.
Yes. So a couple weeks prior to me actually going into labor, I had a scare to where I was leaking, and I thought it was my water breaking, but I was just leaking a bunch of fluid.
Okay.
And so I was like, what the heck? We need to go in. We packed up the bag. We went, and they were like, no. Like, it's just some fluid falling out of you. You're not there
yet. But it wasn't amniotic fluid?
It wasn't amniotic fluid,
it was just
though.
Totally. Was it what is it called? The plug?
I don't know. I know the mucus plug. It was probably because it was like 2 weeks before.
Okay.
I actually went into labor and gave birth. Yeah. But they didn't tell me that, so that's funny that you say that. So yeah, that was that. And so come time the day of the labor. So I remember waking up, and I had talked to my mom, and I was like texting my mom, telling her the times I was like going into contractions and everything. Andre had opened that morning, so he was gone at 5 a.m. I had woken up, and that's when contractions started, like 6 a.m. in the morning. And I was
called me at some point.
I was talking to you and my mom like all day, periodically throughout the day.
I remember, from my perspective, I remember waking up. This was when my sister lived with me. So Lauren was living with me at the time. And I remember waking up to a voicemail saying, no rush, but I am going to the hospital because I'm in labor.
So that happened.
So when was that?
That was wild throughout the day, because, okay, technically, and you'll get it when I'm done telling the story, but when I think of labor, I think of, like, laying in a bed pushing.
Okay, I'm talking about the whole.
No, I know that's how a lot of people think of it. Yeah. But, like, that's how I think of it. And so when I say I went into labor, I was in labor for all of 40 40 minutes, if that.
Yeah.
And so
because I was at the hospital with Bayley.
Yes.
During,
and after. So when I texted you, it was already like 5 or 6 p.m. Because that's, okay, so going back, like, I was texting my mom and you, and I was texting Andre, like, hey, like, I am having contractions, like, this is a thing, just, like, be prepared to leave if it's happening.
Yeah.
And I remember it was, like, still a while between, time between each contraction, and my mom was like, no, not yet. Like, she was really helping me through it all, and, like, giving me advice, and telling me, like, when it's time to, like, okay.
Right.
You need to go.
What do they say? Like, if it's 2 minutes,
I think.
Then you should go?
From what I remember, I haven't done much research on it now because, I'll have to deal with it. But from what I remember, it was 2 minutes. Okay. And even at 2 minutes, that's when they say you need to go to the hospital. But when you're at the hospital, they're like, no, you're not there yet. It was, and I'll get there. So it was such a pain in the ass. So yeah, then literally all day, finally, I was like, still like 5 minutes apart And, like, and this was literally, when I say all day, 6 in the morning is when I started my contractions. Mm-hmm. And then I remember he had worked his whole shift. He didn't have to leave work early. I think he left work at 5 and got home at, like, 5:30 or something like that.
Was this on April 12th or is this April 11th?
This is the 12th, because I had given birth that same. It was all within the same day. Yeah, and so yeah, he had gotten home. Everything was normal. Got home. We officially packed, and then we left because I was like, okay, it's getting closer and closer and closer. And yeah, that was it. Yeah, that was the home experience, I guess. Fudge, Cassandra. Why do you gotta ask me that? Because that makes me a shitty parent for not knowing.
I'm pretty sure she was born at like 2 p.m.
No.
She was born in the morning?
No, she was born at night, but not 2 p.m. because Andre had gotten off work at 5 p.m. So she was born at...
But I remember, my memory serves me of, like, waking up in the morning, like, I didn't get the phone call because it was at night.
She was born in the morning. Sorry, I'm, like, overthinking it right now. Right? She was born in the morning, but this all was April the 11th. Yeah. And then it happened on the 12th.
Yeah, so, like, on the 11th at night, you called me saying, like, hey, no rush, but I'm at the hospital, like, I'm in labor. Yeah. And I didn't get it because I had my phone settings, like, so that I wouldn't wake up unless it was, like, certain whatevers. And so I woke up. I was supposed to substitute teach that day. Woke up, got your voicemail, went over to Lauren, who was living with us at the time, going, Bailey's in labor, I'm taking the day off. Mm-hmm. And she was like, okay, I don't work anyway. So I texted you and said, hey, we're taking the day off, and I'm going to come to the hospital. And then I called your mom, and she was like, honestly, you don't need to take the day off because, like, it's probably not happening anytime soon. Okay. And I was like, I don't care, I already did it. And then I got to the hospital, from what I remember, I got to the hospital, like, mid-morning. Like, and I didn't actually get to meet her. So it was a long afternoon.
So that process was a really long time. So
but I don't know, like, when you had her versus.
So that's probably why I'm so, like, jumbled about everything.
Well, and you, like, had, like, the thing, because we sat there. I remember sitting in the room with you, Andre. You were in the bed, Andre and your mom, and me and Lauren. Yeah. And there was, like, a long period of time where we were just, like, sitting there. You had already had the epidural, and you were, like, falling asleep.
So there was a long time before the epidural. That's why I'm probably so jumbled.
Way before I was there.
So we got to the hospital, and they were like, oh, you're still only 10 centimeters, like, go home. And I said, I am not going home. Like, I literally told them, I am not going home. I'm not getting put through this with no doctor in hospital. Yeah.
Especially, like, you had, like, an asthma and stuff, so, like, I feel like your concerns had to do with other things than just the labor itself.
Yep. So I after I told them that, they were like, okay, like, we'll monitor you for a little bit longer. They monitored me for, like, another 30 minutes to an hour, and then they were like, okay, you're still not moving. Go walk around the hospital for an hour or two. And we did. And, I mean, we had fun with it. We were and I had contractions along the way, so there was pause moments and stuff like that. Yeah. But, pardon, it was like a bonding moment for Andre and I. Like, we took videos of, like, oh my god, we're going into labor.
How come I've never seen this? What?
Because they're just for he and I.
Excuse me?
Where's my copy?
I want to see those.
Yeah, so, and that, we literally walked around the hospital for 2 hours. And so, that was, like, at 10 o'clock at night. So, yeah, it all makes sense. It's all coming to me now that I'm speaking about it.
So, that was, like, the night before. And then...
So, then after we were done walking around, we came back, and they were like, okay, yeah, you pushed it, like, 2-3 more centimeters. This is good. Blah, blah, blah. After that, of course, like, I wanted the epidural. So, like, that was a thing. They gave me the epidural.
Did you know, and then they were like, when did you decide, oh, I'm going to get an epidural and I'm going to, like,
100% the moment that I found out that I was pregnant.
Okay, so it was not a question at all. You were like, drugs.
I was drugs, 100%. Okay. Give me all the things to save me.
Let me get through this pain.
Yeah, I can't do that. I get kudos to those who can't do that because I cannot. So, I got the epidural, and I remember afterwards, it's crazy because I vividly remember this moment that sorry, it's going to get kind of graphic, but that's they stuck.
But warning for everyone listening and watching.
So I remember the doctor was like, you're like, my water hadn't broke, there was no amniotic fluid, there was nothing that had popped, and, like, my body hasn't physically shown me that I had gone into labor yet, but I was going into labor. versus the monitoring of my belly and contractions and stuff like that. And so the doctor is like, we have to pop your, you know, the bubble, the
which is
amniotic fluid. Common.
Very common.
Very common. Yeah, not a bad thing at all. Not scary.
Know. Yeah.
So I wasn't terrified, but I was already numbed. I had no feeling or anything. And boy, am I blessed for that. Because I remember when I was getting ultrasounds and they didn't only do ultrasounds in the belly, they did it vaginally. And it was the most awkward thing ever. So I was very thankful that I was, So he had to pop it like physically with a tool. And so he stuck the tool up like vaginally and it popped it. And then I remember him saying like, oh, your baby has a lot of hair or something. For the record, she had no hair coming out of my body.
Yeah, she was pretty bald.
And she was bald up until like her first birthday. Gosh. So it was really funny. So he had popped the sac and then all the fluid rushed out. And then it kind of like sped things along a little bit and then slowly but surely.
Yeah. Which is like the goal of popping the sac.
Yeah, you want it to speeds things along. Yeah, for sure. So the reason why you remember sitting outside for a really long time is because the hospital didn't have room. Like, there was a lot of mothers in birth and labor that night. So the hospital didn't have a lot of rooms. So we were in just an emergency room. I was getting my epidural. I was getting everything popped in just a basic emergency room with curtains.
Oh.
And so there was people next to me on the other side of the curtain.
Yeah.
So
there was like a time frame where we were all in a private-ish room. I think there was one other mom.
Yeah, I don't even know where you guys were because the whole time I was like imagining you guys in a hallway.
No, this was with you. So like there's a part of the time where we were like in a room where there was like 2 beds. So like there was another mom in labor. I remember.
It was a basic emergency room with a curtain. Like that's where I was getting everything popped. I was getting my epidural.
So we were there. Now I'm remembering. We were there when you had your amniotic sac popped. We left the room and then came right back. We were just literally in a hallway.
You also left the room for the epidural because I remember Andre was like in front of me.
I thought you already had the epidural when we showed up.
I remember. So maybe it was my mom. My mom had to leave the room.
Yeah. So like that. If I remember correctly, you had already had the epidural because I didn't see you in pain at all. So I'm pretty sure that happened before we showed up. And then at some point we were there, and then we had to leave for, I believe, the amniotic sac popping. So we like just walked outside, and you were in a room with another mom who was also in labor.
Very confined spaces, like it was
so
small,
and like it wasn't private, and it was in a hallway of all laboring moms because I remember when me and Lauren were sitting.
You were in labor and delivery area.
Yeah, so when me and Lauren were standing outside for you to get your amniotic sac popped, we were like listening to other women in labor. Like,
that's crazy.
Yeah, so we were like, and it was such an interesting experience because I've been in the labor and delivery room many times because my mom has I have 2 brothers who are younger than me, and I went and I was there for both. So like, I've experienced being in this space
environment
before, but Lauren never has because her mom had our little brother who's younger than Lauren. She was only 4, first of all, when Zachary was born, but also they had C-sections. My stepmom had C-sections.
So it's complete surgery room.
It's a complete different experience in being in a labor and delivery. So I remember sitting there and Lauren's like, what? And I'm like, oh, this is normal.
Well, okay, so it's so funny that you mentioned that, like the C-section, like.
Did you ever was there ever a moment of worry?
There was never a moment of worry about what I was going to do besides natural labor.
There was like never an emergency aspect.
There was never an emergency like that. So after having everything popped and all that, it sped along pretty quickly and it was fantastic. Then I remember they had no rooms. The hospital was very busy with moms coming, in for labor and birth and all that stuff.
Lots of people were on April 12th, apparently.
I know, gosh. So the hospital was out of rooms. I had to go into labor and give natural birth in a surgery room.
Okay,
so I remember it was that was when you and Lauren were separated because I was allotted 2 people, so it worked out, my mom and Andre.
Perfect.
But I remember they had to be in full-on gear, not just a gown. They had to wear masks. They had to wear like a surgical performing jacket thing and like gloves and like the whole shebang because they were in a very sterile environment in that surgical performing room.
And that's what made me scared when I watched. Yeah. So like me and Lauren sat waiting for you for I mean, it was at least an hour. No, if not longer.
So I was. That's what I like to say. Labor is like I was physically pushing for 30 minutes, and then she was out of me, and that was fantastic.
But then there's the whole like that whole time frame,
cutting her cord, spending that moment.
All of that is what me and Lauren were obviously not there for. Yeah. So we're sitting there in this like random like not waiting room but waiting area because it was like in a hallway with a lot of other people, and so we're sitting there waiting, and then all of a sudden you come out of the elevator like on a bed with your mom and Andre. I don't remember that at all. You were not paying attention. Like you were tired and almost like asleep. And you didn't have the baby. The baby was not with you. I don't know where the baby was, but the baby wasn't with you. And I remember seeing you like looked out of it, like sleeping or something, and Mom and Andre are in surgical gear, and I was like, excuse me, what?
What is happening?
What's wrong? And I remember making eye contact with Shalene and being like I had a look of fear of like, what just happened? What did we miss? And Shalene was like, everything's okay, baby's fine, mom's fine. Like, she just like gave me a look of like, everything's okay.
Good, yeah.
And she was like, they're gonna come get you in a minute. We need to go get a room. And I was like, okay. Yeah, because all of a sudden I thought something had gone wrong.
Well, yeah, we didn't know. That's how crowded the hospital was, and so randomized this whole situation was because everything was so sudden, and I didn't know. They told us up until the moment we went into the surgical room that we were going into a room. Like I had my room, but then it just didn't end up happening because I went into labor too quickly.
Yes, I do remember being in the room for that. Part of like nurses and stuff telling you that. Yeah. So what for in your head, like what's this like memory of meeting your daughter for the first time?
Yeah. So I remember
Yeah, I'm gonna make you cry. That was the goal.
No, I'm not gonna cry.
Yeah, you are.
I remember like her coming out of me, and I remember her, like setting her on my chest, and that whole like scene that you see, in movies or whatever. And I remember crying so hard that my mom looked at me and she was like, what's wrong, Bailey? Like, are you okay? It was just like, I'm just so happy. Oh my God.
I'm crying just listening to you, so like, at least you have a reason.
I just like, That's what I remember everything so vividly of that moment and that scene in my life. But that's what I remember the most. I remember crying so hard of like joy and like, holy fuck, I just pushed a child out of me. You know what? Like who weighed 7 pounds. I was like so amazed, and then I just remember my mom being like, are you okay? Like, why are you crying so hard, Bailey? Like, what the heck is wrong with you? And I was like, I'm so happy. And, like, to have my mom and Andre there was just so special to me. Like, it was an amazing experience. And that was it.
How do you remember Andre's reaction in that moment?
I can honestly tell you that I don't. I don't know his reaction. Besides, like hugging on me and kissing my forehead, because I had Amelia so close to me at that moment. But like that's all I could tell you that I remember. I remember watching him cut the umbilical cord, but I don't remember, like, I couldn't hear anything. I couldn't tell you what was said.
It was like too much.
It was way too much. So yeah.
So when he cut the cord, was Amelia on you?
Yeah. No.
They had already touched.
See, I don't even remember.
It doesn't matter. I just was curious.
I think she was on me. But I can't tell you for sure.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Sorry, my love, if I'm getting this.
Well, you'll have to ask him.
Wrong. Yeah, I'm going to ask him.
Of what his perception of that moment was.
I remember that's, and then after that, everything's kind of just like a blur. Like, I remember going to our room, and I remember the doctor saying they needed to take her away to get certain blood work done or like certain shots done on her little toes and stuff. And I remember being like don't leave her side, and like because he went with her. Yeah. And like that's it. I'm blacked out.
And that's all during that time where in my memory is like before me and Lauren ever came into the room. That's all before that.
Yeah.
And then who was all there like once you get moved into the other room.
Honestly, I can't even remember when my dad got there.
So he was there before me.
Yeah,
he was in the room when I walked in.
He was there with my mom, but like it was he let my mom really do everything. And then there was only allowed 2 people at a time, so it was always Andre and my mom.
Like the time frame.
I needed to break.
Do it. So like the time frame of when it was all of us in the room while you were waiting, like while you were still like laboring.
Yeah.
Before you got to go into the room and actually push, all of that, your dad wasn't there. I think he was in the hospital, but he wasn't in the room with all of us.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it was like me and Lauren and your mom and Andre. And then at some point it changed where me and Lauren had to leave. You were moved and into the room where you then gave birth. Mm-hmm. During that time, I'm pretty sure I remember Shalene saying, "I'm calling Rich." Mm-hmm. I forgot his name for a minute. Sorry. So from what I think I know, I think Rich was like closer to you. Closer to the room that you were giving birth in than like I was.
Oh, okay.
But like he couldn't be in the room. But he was like nearby. He was allowed to be really close. Yeah. Whereas we were like in this like waiting area that was down by the room that you would go into once you had Amelia.
I got you.
And then I know that he didn't walk through that memory that I have of like all of a sudden seeing your mom and Andre in surgical gear and you being all like out of it.
Asleep.
And the baby wasn't with you. That was what really freaked me out. Because I saw surgical gear and your child wasn't there. And I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. Oh my
God,
your
dad wasn't there either. So I didn't know until much later that your dad had been close by. But I remember having a conversation with your mom about it. So I think that's what I remember. Yeah. And then your dad was in the room before me and Lauren got pulled to come back. And I think your mom came and got us. Mm-hmm. And then Andre left and went to get food. Mm-hmm. For everyone, for you and him, and then your Andre's dad was there. Mm-hmm. Your dad was there. Your mom was there.
And then, like over the period of days, people came to visit me. But yeah, that was those were like the main people that were there right then and there.
Mm-hmm. And she was so tiny.
I like look back at pictures and I'm like, gosh,
I cannot believe she was that tiny.
Having kids so they could be this tiny forever.
It's like. This is a dumb thing to say, but I'm going to say it anyway.
What's your comparison?
It's like when I have a kitten.
Okay. I can't.
Just like, I just want a kitten all the time.
I can't handle you.
I'm like, it's not the same because I know I want kids. They're not the same, but also kittens.
Yeah, you're obsessed. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's my labor story and birth and...
Yeah, and now she's almost 3.
And now she's almost 3.
What are some, like your top, I don't know, top 5 favorite things to have seen her learn? Like, in the last 3 years. What were the big moments for you?
Okay, walking. Mm-hmm. Because I don't know, I feel like so, like, what's the word? Like, stereotypical for me to say, but yeah, walking, but not because like, oh my god, you just took your first step, more because like I love the wobbliness.
Yeah, sure.
Is that a word?
No,
I'm making it a word. It's in the dictionary of this podcast because I say a lot of wrong things. I love that stage where they don't know how to like flim their body or they flim their arms and then they fall that way. I love that stage and I love that so much. And so that was really exciting to me. The other stage that I liked was this is all stereotypical. The talking, all of it. I loved all of it so much. The talking, the teeth was really exciting, and the teeth was really exciting to me because I did not breastfeed. Mm-hmm. So to touch base on that really quick, I breastfed in the hospital, and for all of, I think I lasted a month breastfeeding, honestly.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't that long.
If that, yeah, exactly. So in the hospital, from right off the bat, breastfeeding her was extremely, extremely hard for me. And I didn't necessarily have postpartum depression, but I did have like a struggle with the fact that, wow, I can't breastfeed my daughter. Like we're not connecting on that level. And it's so hard. It was so hard for me to get past that because you read so much and listen to so many people's stories and women's stories about how they it's such a bond, and like you hear more of those than like the women who don't and feel my pain as well. So like that was a really big struggle for me.
Mm-hmm.
So teething was great for me because I didn't have to. She didn't bite my nipple.
I never had to deal with finding it out that way.
Yes, exactly. So that was really exciting. What else? I don't know. This best friend stage to me is really exciting. The stage that we're in now. She wants to be me so much, and it's so funny because like I also like, oh, I want to be you, like I want to be a kid again. Hence wearing scrunchies. Like I just like she's like my favorite, and yeah, for those of you who are just listening, I'm wearing a scrunchie with a bow,
a big bow
tie looking thing, and it's cute, and I'm in love with it. And the other thing is just her conversation. She has such a personality where she will talk about anything. This morning I was watching her talk with her dad on the phone because she's going away for the weekend. And so Andre called me and he was like, I forgot, like I didn't give her enough kisses this morning, so give the phone to her. So I give her the phone and she's sitting there and, hi, Dad, what are you doing? And like talking on and on and on and on. And I'm going to the lake with Nona and Grandpa and
Does
Phoenix
she finally say
and
Nona
Llama.
now?
Yeah, she says Nona.
Cute.
And so
it took her a
Nona
while.
is grandma in Italian.
Mm-hmm.
So I tried to get her on Nona and Nono, which Nono is what she said in the beginning and never said Nona because Nono was harder than Nona. And now it's completely switched. And so it went from Nona to Ampa to Nona and Grandpa now.
Oh, so there's no.
There's no at all.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's
yes, yeah. It's so funny too because the first time I heard her say Grandpa, I'm like, Ampa. His name is Ampa. I want you to be different. Don't be a normal kid. Ampa. And I was like rooting for the weirdness, you know, to be different. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so she says Nona and Grandpa.
Cute.
So that's that. But I love it. She was, like I said, she was just sitting there having a full-on conversation about her weekend and what are you doing and all these things. And she was walking around in her little play toy heels that she has that my mom got her for two Christmases ago. She's obsessed with them and bright pink, and it was such beautiful weather today. She's wearing this tank top. It says California on it, has the bear, little jean shorts, and her heels. And she's on the phone, and she's like if you can see, like this
she
is
looks
cute.
like a teenager. Like
so
Bailey posted a video of her
just
playing the ukulele.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like singing McDonald's, I think, Old McDonald Had a Farm. And so initially I didn't have the sound on, so I didn't know what she was singing initially.
Yeah.
And I'm watching, I'm like, oh my god, she's a freaking teenager. Stop it. Mm-hmm. And so that's exactly what I texted you.
Stop right now. Don't grow up.
Don't grow up. Stay right there.
Stay in this
stage. Go backwards a little bit.
No, I love this stage. Even like
she's so
before
cute.
When I was like, you know, getting ready for motherhood and like really what was about to happen in my life. This is the stage I think that I was getting so pumped about. Like, I mean, I'm still super excited for her actual teenager stage and for her to like confide in me, be mad at me, and like, or for me to just be that best friend mom. Like, I'm looking forward to that so much. But like right now, she's getting more of a character and a personality, and I'm just like, God, you're my best friend. Like, you're one and the same of me, and like, gosh, she's so perfect.
Yeah, I know.
So those are my things. Was that even 5? I don't know. That's
a good amount, though.
Yeah.
I think it was 4, but it's okay.
Yes.
So the question that I have to end it before we move on to our quote is like, what advice, you can specify it to me because I'm here, but like, what advice would you give for somebody who's not a mom yet? And that's really broad, so you can
yeah, that is really. It's so funny that you say that's really broad because I was like, wow, about labor, about mom, about
whatever you feel like.
Okay, so my biggest thing out there, and it's about motherhood in general, is that God, this is so hard. I read a lot of mother books going into pregnancy and going into, you know, actually becoming a mom rather than it just being a vision. You can read all the things you want, whether it be good stories from moms, bad stories from moms, or like whatever. You have to take them and not take it like in that way. So like, for example, I read so many good stories from moms going back to the breastfeeding thing. Like that was so something that I looked forward to. and that I had such high hopes for, and then for it to, like, not happen for me, I was so, I mean, yeah, I guess you could say brokenhearted, because it was something that, like, so many women out there had, like, lived up to that expectation and, yeah, and talked so highly about, where I didn't hear enough about the bad things or about the bad stories. There's no book out there about, or at least that, I mean, I'm sure there is a book out there. God, there's a book out there about everything, but there's no book out there that I read that explained the, like, the negativity side of everything. And so that's really important to me, that you just need to have such a broad horizon about things and read about all these positive and negatives, but, like, don't set your mind on them right away. Like, know that anything could happen, and, like, know that your child is not going to be like any child out there. Just like you yourself. Like, you're not like anyone else out there. So you just need to keep such an open mind and,
like, take things as they come, sort of thing.
Yeah, you can't imagine something happening, because anything could happen.
Yeah.
So, and I guess that's my.
I, like, have, I don't remember where this comes from, but I've heard this, like, quote, but it's not perfectly quoted. Yeah. Of, like, you can have a plan. You can have a birth plan all you want, but basically it might not happen.
Absolutely.
So, like, when it comes, this was specifically to labor, but, like, you can plan for it to be all natural and, like, no drugs, or to be at least, like, vaginal birth or whatever. And at the end of the day, like, there's things out of your control, so accept that even if this is what you really want, it might not be what really happens. Yeah. So, like, to be okay with the potential for change. Yeah.
No, I like that. And not only, like, to pertain to birth, like, you can have a birth plan, but you can also have, like, a whole motherhood plan. Yeah. You could have it all mapped out about the mom you want to be. And you're and then it's just not what happens, whether it be good or bad. And that's just something that you have to, like, you have to prepare yourself for anything. And, like,
that's really good advice. Yeah. Like, keeping it open.
Yeah, just, like, open-minded, like I said. You have to stay that, like, constantly. And I still find myself, like, oh, God, like, right now, exactly, like, oh, God, when you're a teenager, I'm going to be your best friend. Like, that's me. Like, I'm being open-minded about it. Like, God, she could be a brat as a teenager, or she could go, like,
she might completely close you out.
Yeah, she could close me out. She could be a completely different person, you know? Like, I'm growing her up to be this, like, I mean, she could be anyone she wants, but, like, right now is the stage where I get to dress her. I get to style her. I get to form her, you know, hoping that she turns into this, like, little princess in love with pink and da-da-da. And
girly girl.
Girly, yeah. But, like, she can be anyone she wants. And so if she's not my best friend at the stage that I want her to be, I'm going to be a little, like, hurt, because that's what I envisioned as having a daughter. But, like,
but you gotta let it could roll go south. With the punches.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So that's my advice, that you just gotta keep an open mind, and anything can happen.
My last question is, do you think when you have another one, which you probably will, like, let's be real, you want 500.
Like, if it's, okay.
If you want 5 now, right?
I do want 5 right now.
So, like, when the next one comes around, do you think you'll try breastfeeding again?
That's a really good.
That it was
that's a really good question. I think I will try it. Yes, because I tried it with her. Yeah, I think I will. I truly think, though, like, the same thing will happen, but I don't know, because it might not. I don't know if this. Don't take this as a bad way for those of you listening, but, like, or don't take offense to it, mothers out there. But, like, I don't think it was her that was having problems latching on. Well, yeah, I think it was a little bit of that, of her not being able to latch on to my nipple exactly the way it should. But I think it was me, too. I think most of it was me, was, like, I was being selfish and, like, ow, this hurt, and it wasn't comfortable to me. Where most of the women out there, like, this hurts, but it's meant to be. And, like, this is, like, my creation, and this is what's supposed to happen, and I love this feeling. And, like, and to me, I didn't feel that. So I think I will try again.
See what
but happens. I don't, to see what happens. Yeah, I don't mind going through that again. You know what I mean? I'm not opposed to it. Right. I don't mind being put through pain, but, like, I mean, I gave birth. So.
With drugs.
Okay. I still gave birth.
Okay. You did. You did do
my
definitely
body still felt it, but my brain didn't feel it.
Yeah, and we didn't even go into, like, after birth, like, pain stuff of that. Like, there was other things there, but yeah, I feel like that is a very
what
good
I
episode.
also will say, since you said that right now, mothers to be, or mothers who have already had kids, and if you didn't do it the first time, take everything that the hospital gives you. If you are going to breastfeed but they offer you like the formula, take it. Take any nipple resistant guard that you can take. Take all the diapers that look like old lady diapers. Take all the pads. Take the spray. Say you ran out of the spray and the diapers. Pack it all up so it's hidden from the hospital room and take it all. Like, I'm not even kidding. You want to stock
women say this too.
Yes, stock up on everything that you can. Like, literally everything. I not once had to go buy any more spray to heal my vajayjay. Like, I was set for life. So... Well, okay, not for life, because the next baby I'm gonna do it all over again. But like, do that, like 100%, and don't feel ashamed. There's no amount of guilt. Like, the hospital cannot deny you of that stuff. You gave labor in their hospital. You know what I mean? It's Mother Nature,
and
but
you're
like,
paying for it.
And you're
like,
hands down
paid for it.
And when I say, like, even if you aren't out of the diapers that they have, like, hide the diapers or tell your husband or your spouse or your significant other or your lover, or your partner, or tell them, your mom, tell them to your best friend to take this to the car so it can't be seen. I'm gonna ask for more. Like, don't feel any shame.
Get more of it.
Yeah, get more.
Because I've heard they're expensive at the store.
They
are like expensive. The pad things, because like you basically are on the worst period of your life after birth, right?
Yeah, it's pretty painful.
That's essentially what it is.
Yeah,
and so you bleed a lot. Yeah, so you have to wear those like full body.
Yeah, it goes up to my. Yeah.
Maybe we'll have a whole episode on like the ins and outs of like the gory stuff.
Yeah, I mean, sure, because I can tell you all the things.
That'll be fun.
Anyways, that's my last little
tidbit. But we have our last segment, which is our quote.
Our quote, yes. Okay. So the quote is, "I believe we can change the world, but first, we've got to stop living in fear of being judged for who we are." So my take on this is that to be yourself and to not care, I guess it's kind of like in comparison to the first quote that we quoted in our episode 1, like you just can't care about anyone, and don't judge anyone, but aside from that, don't judge yourself. Just be you. You live and you learn, and that's that. Like, that's what it is. You can't be ashamed.
Yeah.
So.
And, like, not only can you not, like, don't be ashamed and stuff, but, like, don't be afraid of what others will think of you trying to do big things. Yeah. Like, I mean, like, this to me fits really perfectly with this episode, because there could be a lot of judgment of the fact that you were in this relationship for not very long, and you were young, and like all these things when you had your baby, and so like there oftentimes is judgment in regards to that specific situation, and so like who the fuck cares?
Yeah, absolutely.
That other people will think that was a bad idea, or like you're dumb or whatever, because at the end of the day, whether or not it was an accident or not, like you've stepped into the role of motherhood and went, like, fuck you guys, I'm gonna be the best mom I can be.
I was in it full speed. Like, I did not care.
And so, like, you can do that with anything, not just motherhood. Like, you can do that with your career. Like, there's, like, another good quote that's, like, or, like, theory of, like, dress for the job you want, not the job you have. Like, all sorts of things in regards to, like, profession, and just going for it regardless of, even if you don't meet the perfect qualifications that are on that job request, like, if you want that job, put in your resume anyway. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, the worst that can happen is they don't call you back.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. The worst thing you can hear is a no. Just ask. Yeah. Or in your sake, just go for the job. Yeah. Right. I absolutely 100%
And so you can do that for a lot of things. Or like, so like I'm going to school for interpreting right now. And when I first started this, like made this the decision that I wanted to do, a lot of people who don't understand the profession and a lot about what I'm doing were like, is there even a job for you? Like, that doesn't seem like something that's really big out there, or like, can you even make money doing that? Is American Sign Language even a language? Yes, it is. It's a language. Like, a lot of people just don't know. So then they ask questions that some people might go, oh, maybe I need to second guess what I'm doing. But like, don't be afraid of that judgment from those other people and go for what you want.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter. Or like, there's people who have taken the big risk on YouTube and stuff, like they have a certain amount of followers and they're making enough money where they might be able to handle quitting their full-time job.
Yeah.
And they do it, and a lot of people go, oh my gosh, that was a dumb decision.
What are you doing? Yeah.
And like, if you've looked at the finances and if you think you can do it, like, just go for it. Because at the end of the day, if it fails, then like, don't burn bridges. Don't burn bridges of your past stuff, because you could go back if you need to, but you'll never know if you could succeed if you don't try.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's what I get from this.
I love it because that you said that, because right now, I'm doing Arbonne.
Yes.
So so many people out there like, network marketing, like, it's just a pyramid scheme or blah, blah, blah. And if I would have like believed that and like only trusted in those people who gave negative feedback and negative thoughts about, me wanting to pursue this, I would have failed instantly. Instead, I'm not giving a fuck about what other people think, and I'm just doing it. So a couple people unfollow me. So I only get 20 likes versus 120 likes. Like, it is what it is. There's silent watchers out there who, are super interested, but I can't have that fear. I can't have that fear of like, thinking, oh, I'm just going to get judged. No, I need to go full in and not care what about other people think, because I want to conquer my dream. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Of being like building a business at home and like all of those things.
Staying home with my daughter. If anything, that's my goal. Like, I want to be able to be for as long as you've known me, I've always said my goal in life is to be a stay-at-home mom. Yeah. Like, I don't want to work. I don't want to manage a restaurant forever. I don't want to be in the server industry forever. Like, of course, I love my jobs. I do. I really, really do. I love the restaurant industry and having like that connection with people on a daily basis. But like, at the end of the day, I want to be home with my 500 million kids.
I like how we keep making a bigger and bigger number. That's what I'm laughing at. Not the plan.
No. I got you. But it's funny. It grows. It's funny because every time you ask me how many kids I want, I'm like 4, 5, 10, 5, 4, 2.
Yeah, it goes back. She changes her mind so often. It really, the big numbers that change is 4, 5, and 6. Those are the numbers I've heard really regular. Yeah. So like 5, an average.
So in the middle, I'm gonna have 5 kids.
Oh my gosh.
Anyways, that's it. I love that. I love that quote. It's accurate.
For
100%.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's our episode.
And that is that. So let us know how you feel about motherhood. Guys, if you have any questions, ask me. I'm a super open and honest person, so I'll tell you all the things. If you want to hear more about the gore, let us know.
Yeah,
we'll go into depth.
We'll definitely do an episode about that.
Yes.
In the meantime, make sure you're subscribing to our YouTube channel. If you're listening to this and not watching this means that we're on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify, so make sure to subscribe. We don't know what we're on yet, so hopefully that's a thing. Yeah, subscribe to the YouTube channel, give this video a like, all of that stuff. It really helps. Yes. And we will see you on Monday.
Yes, we will. Cheers.
Cheers.